asambe nono siota tulungelo.
And around 7 p.m. a mob came.
I have seen incidences of rape, harassment, violence.
When we reached the police station, what was safe protection or protection, or instead we became suspects.
When we are arresting you and we're going to call your family, we're going to tell them that you are with another man.
Only to learn that they have now charged us with unnatural offenses.
And we have one of the most corrupt police systems in the world.
They took us for first annual examinations.
I was blackmailed.
So they would obviously just make money off these men.
A person is really, really degrading you from being human.
Perhaps the most pernicious result of these laws is that it stigmatizes and invites discrimination and violence against LGBT people. LGBT people are labeled by the state as criminals.
That's when we decided that we should challenge this in the courts.
And some of us litigated this, of course, in the 377 case. And I think the case became a pivotal moment.
You know, we got thrown out of the High Court. We went to the Supreme Court, who sent us back to the High Court. And then in 2009, we got a fabulous judgment. What we had asked for was a reading down of the law to exclude adult gay people from the purview of this law.
And 2013 was a huge setback to that because it was a perverse judgment of the Supreme Court. Absolutely perverse if you want to go into detail about it. But last day of the sitting of that judge, the government hadn't opposed the 2009 judgment. The religious forces came together, the Muslims, the Hindus, the Christians. And on that basis, these two guys did this. It was just stunning. And that really was a kick in the guts.
2009, the Delhi High Court absolutely agreed and gave us a very good judgment. And unfortunately, 4 years later, the Supreme Court, it got challenged in the Supreme Court we did the impossible. Hindu, Muslim, Christian groups came together and they basically took the argument about religion and culture and all of that. The Supreme Court actually set aside the Delhi High Court judgment. So then we were again in the courts.
And then 2 years later, the government filed its affidavit. The same party which is in power now was in power then. And they said this law has to remain. And we were not surprised. We expected opposition from the government. But there was panic in the community. And we thought this was a good time for everyone to come together and say, okay, listen, how do we join forces, even though we have differences about why this case was filed, etc. And that's what galvanized this incredible process where we held consultative meetings across the country, across demographics and backgrounds and identities, and really got a sense of a sort of campaign around the case almost.
Finally, gay people went to the courts and said, look, we exist, listen to us, and this is what we want. And the Supreme Court actually heard the case again. And then the Delhi High Court judgment was reinstated and homosexuality has been decriminalized in this country. So this was the journey.